Friedrich Wilhelm Joseph Schelling, 1775 to 1854, was a German philosopher who is considered one of the founding figures of German idealism, along with Johann Gottlieb Fichte and Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. Schelling was born in Leonberg-Württemberg, in what is now Germany. He studied theology at the Tübinger Stift, where he became close friends with Hegel and the poet Friedrich Hölderlin. In his early work, Schelling focused on the nature of human freedom and the relationship between spirit and nature. He held that the absolute or the ultimate reality could not be a mere abstract unity but must encompass both unity and diversity, both being and non-being. This led him to posit a dynamic system in which a primordial act of self-division and opposition is followed by a process of reintegration and synthesis. Schelling's philosophy evolved over time, and his work is generally divided into three periods: the early, or identity philosophy, the middle, or philosophy of nature, and the late, or positive philosophy. In his early period, he developed the concept of the absolute, which he saw as a unity underlying all of reality. This absolute is not merely spiritual or mental, but includes nature as well. In his middle period, Schelling focused more extensively on nature and developed his philosophy of nature. He argued that nature should be seen as a living, organic whole and not just a mechanical system. Nature for Schelling is visible spirit, and spirit is invisible nature. Here, he diverges significantly from his contemporaries by giving nature a central place in his system, insisting that nature has its own kind of logic and reason. Schelling's later philosophy became increasingly focused on questions of existence, history, and human freedom. In this period, he criticized his own earlier work as well as that of both Fichte and Hegel. He argued that philosophy must begin not with abstract reasoning but with existential facts. He thus anticipated some aspects of existentialism, and can be seen as a precursor to thinkers like Soren Kierkegaard and Friedrich Nietzsche. Schelling also held academic positions at various points in his life, and his career included appointments at the universities of Jena, Würzburg, Erlangen, and Munich. Despite the brilliance of his early work, Schelling's influence waned, particularly in comparison to Hegel, who became the dominant figure in German philosophy during that time. Schelling's dispute with Hegel, known as the pantheism controversy, was one of the defining intellectual debates of their time. Schelling's philosophy also includes significant discussions on art and aesthetics. He believed that art is the point where the dualities of subject and object, form and content, and the ideal and the real are transcended, and that in the act of artistic creation, the human being experiences a kind of union with the absolute. In the 19th century, Schelling was somewhat overshadowed by Hegel, but the 20th century saw a revival of interest in Schelling, particularly among existentialists, process philosophers, and those interested in the dynamic, evolving aspects of reality. Despite the shifts and changes in his thought over his life, at the core of Schelling's philosophy is an effort to grapple with the dynamic, evolving character of reality, and with the relationship between the finite and the infinite, between humanity and the absolute.